It's early afternoon on the Drayton and Southern Railway. EMD GP30H number 2570 and crew were preparing to depart South Yard for an interchange with Conrail at a passing siding just outside of Drayton. Locomotive number 2570 had just been repaired for traction motor issues at Bradley Shops and was once again ready for mainline service on the Genesee and Wyoming Subsidiary Railroad. Tagging along for the ride today would be former CP Rail Angus van number 21340, which is equipped with RCO equipment, headlights and ditch lights for shoving moves and yard service on the DNS. In this fantasy world, the Conrail takeover never happened, and the Class 1 railroad was still competing against Norfolk Southern and CSX. The Conrail, along with Norfolk Southern and Canadian National, are the Drayton and Southern's interchange partners. After leaving the shop facility, the 2570 stops at the fuel pad before making its journey to the town of Clarkston. The locomotive and accompanying caboose will run as light power to Clarkston, where the crew will then tie on to their outbound train for interchange with Conrail at Drayton. Sister locomotive, ex-Southern Railway GP30 number 2571, is also seen at the fuel pad with a Buffalo and Pittsburgh transfer caboose recently assigned to the DNS by Genesee and Wyoming Corporate. The 2571 is still considered a standard GP30, while the 2570 has been upgraded to GP30H electrical specifications. The 2570 is equipped with Train Control Systems' incredible Wow Sound decoder and Keep Alive for those dirty segments of track in the yard. Moving along, we'll follow the 2570 on its journey to Clarkston. Making track speed, the 2570 will arrive at Clarkston about 30 minutes after departing South Yard. Meanwhile, the Conrail crew had just arrived at Brush City Yard to swap out with the road crew. Unfortunately, train crews are often late at division points due to poor service from Resenberger Transportation, which provides a taxi service to the Class 1 railroad in the area. Perhaps Conrail will eventually switch to PTI, but we've heard they aren't much better. Shortly after swapping with the road crew, Conrail SD60I number 5625 departs Brushtown with its manifest train. The locomotive will be battling the hard grades of the Drayton Valley while en route to the interchange point at Drayton Siding. Helping the 5625 today is Conrail SD50 number 6831. Both locomotives are equipped with Soundtrack Tsunami sound and will be working hard together on this beautiful sunny day. You know, they say it's always sunny in Philadelphia, but it's actually always sunny in the Drayton Valley. I wonder why. Tagging along at the rear of the train is Conrail transfer caboose number 18196, which is normally used in local or yard service. Today, however, the transfer caboose would be standing in for the usual Conrail Bay Window series. Local rail fans were ecstatic at the unusual occurrence and didn't pass up the opportunity to photograph the caboose in action. Moving along, the train will cross over the 180-foot-tall Drayton Valley Trestle, which was built in 1898 by predecessor New York Central. This bridge always frightens train crews as it shakes violently when the trains cross over top. Somebody call the bridge inspector. After crossing the Drayton Valley Trestle, the train will battle the 2.5% grade at Reese. The hill was named so for a New York Central engineer who tended to be slow at accelerating his train at the base of the grade, often stalling and causing delays on the main. The tight curves and steep grade make for a challenge, but seasoned engineer Ken Clark has traveled this route many times and is confident in his train handling abilities. His only concern, though, is derailing his train. After all, Reese Hill is the ultimate testbed for Walther's proto cars, which often struggle to stay on the rails under stress. Now, we know not everything in this video is accurate or era appropriate, but that's what makes model railroading fun. After all, the world is your oyster, and this one belongs to the non-merged, still blue Consolidated Rail Corporation that we all knew and loved. Making its way along the main line to the east, the train encounters easy running between Carsonville and Drayton. The grades on this section of the Conrail's Clarkston subdivision are between 0.2 and 0.3%, making engineer Ken relax at the controls of his desktop SD60i. Unlike Norfolk Southern crews, Conrail crews really enjoy operating with desktop locomotive controls. Okay, even in a fantasy world, nobody would believe that. Everyone hates desktop controls. At Drayton Siding, the train slowed to a stop. Drayton Siding is just outside of the small town of the same name. This scene much so resembles the town of Dant on the Clinchfield. That's because it really is the town of Dant on the Blissfield Model Railroad Club layout. But again, it's a fantasy world. Just play along, folks. Model trains are cool, 'kay? Okay. Here, the 2570 and Caboose will meet the Conrail local train, swapping out cars for interchange. This move happens 3 times per week, with the Drayton and Southern coming off the Genesee and Wyoming trackage over the Conrail main line to make the swap. The Conrail crew will set off their train's transfer caboose and wait on the main for the D&S crew to show up. They're running late today, but that's Class 1 railroading. Hurry up and wait, boys! At Clarkston, near the steel mill, 2570 makes its way through the siding to tie on to its outbound train. Once on the road, the 2570 will move along at a slow but steady 20 miles per hour over the D&S main. Normally, the caboose would be on the rear of the train, but today's crew decided to keep it with the locomotive at the front of the train. The RCO-equipped caboose has a microwave and a refrigerator for food and beverages, and the train crew planned on taking full advantage of the deluxe kitchen. I mean, if you can even call it that. CP locomotives have hot plates, but the poor G&W crews are left with nothing. At least the D&S crews have air conditioning on most of the locomotives on the roster. Gotta have that onboard air conditioning or else the train crews will die. Over the main, the D&S traverses through some beautiful scenery. As we follow along, the 2570 will lead its consist over the Black Grove River Bridge, along with the Drayton Tunnel just north of downtown Drayton. The former N&W line follows the Drayton Valley and the Black Grove River on the opposite side of the Conrail main and crosses the Class 1 at Drayton before descending through Drayton Tunnel and into the siding. at the south end of Drayton Siding, 2570 passed the power of the Conrail local, which had been sitting there for nearly an hour. Engineer Ken didn't mind, though. The DNS allowed him time for an afternoon nap. The 2570 will tie onto the rear of the Conrail train at the south end of Drayton Siding, acquiring the outbound cars for sorting at the yard. Once doing so, the DNS crew will then tie back onto their own train before pulling onto the main with the entire train set. After clearing the siding, they will then shove back towards Conrail's train on the main line, leaving the DNS outbounds for Conrail on the rear. This process takes about 40 minutes. Once air-tested and ready to go, the Conrail train will continue on to Bruce City before calling it a day. We received word from a local rail fan in the area that another Conrail interchange job was working in the evening near Clarkston, and decided to leave the town of Drayton for Mark Center. There, the train would pass the downtown area carnival while en route to Clarkston. Once at Clarkston, the train would then drop off its consist of loaded steel cars for the D&S mill crew before leaving as light power. At Clarkston Mill, the yard crew were busy switching out cars for Clark Metal. This large steel mill processes coils and steel beams, utilizing the Drayton and Southern Railway for its switching needs. Today, the Ghetto Caboose, as it's nicknamed by local area rail fans, is seen MU'd to D&S C39-8 number 8211. The mill job often uses radio-controlled locomotives to switch out Clark Metal, but since 2570 normally handles this job, the 8211 and XCP Caboose have been working the mill for the last 2 weeks. Descending the grade at Reese and crossing over the trestle, the Jeep 15 and its train will soon arrive at Clarkston. This locomotive is also equipped with tsunami sound. Ex-Canadian Pacific Angus van number 434704 was purchased by the D&S in 2017 and was converted to be a remote control shoving platform for such use on local trains. The caboose allows any non-radio control locomotive to be MU'd as a remote unit in the yard. This ex-Conrail C39-8 wound up at Norfolk Southern for a short time in the mid-2000s, before being sold off to the D&S in 2018. D&S crews despise the locomotive since it doesn't have air conditioning and often spews out flames while accelerating. But since all other D&S 4-axle locomotives were busy on other jobs, it was the only power left to switch out the mill. The Dash 8 is equipped with Loc sound, while the caboose is equipped with Soundtrack's unique sound car decoder, allowing for headlights, ditch lights, and a horn and bell combination. After dropping off the cars at Clarkston, the GP15 and caboose leave light. The D&S mill crew will then grab the inbound cars taking them to South Yard first so that they could be sorted out for the appropriate customers. Many of these gondolas will return to Clark Metal later in the week, but for now will remain at South Yard until needed. The caboose will lead the train to South Yard, while the ghost conductor operates the locomotives from his belt pack over the main line. The ghetto caboose doesn't have the greatest interior, and during the summer months is used in yard service, while the other corporate colored Angus van is out on the road behind freight trains. Thank you for watching Delay in Block Productions. If you enjoyed this model railroad video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great railroad media. Until next time, I'm Drayton Blackgrove. Happy railroading from all of us at Delay in Block Productions.